Yo, 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 what is up? We have ourselves another week in review, man. And I think we're closing in on our third week of fulfillment for ISOM number one. A lot of you guys have got your books. I think we're on pace. So we're probably a little over halfway done with a lot of these shipments. We're doing everything we can to get them out as fast as we can. I got a bunch of my team members that are remote that will be coming out to the warehouse this week. And I think this next week is going to be our most efficient week in terms of getting orders out, and I'm very excited about that. Appreciate all of you guys that have done your reviews, everybody that's getting their videos out, everybody that's showing love, theories, all that stuff. I promise you guys we're going to get back to streaming and all of that, but just let us get through this stuff. What I'll end up initially doing is like a spoiler talk kind of I don't know, stream or something, and that'll kind of indicate everything is back to, I won't say back to what it was before, but we will be streaming a lot more, doing videos a lot more, and a lot of stuff that we have going on with the Rippaverse. Now, I guess I can just let you guys in on what's happening with that. So for you guys that don't know, we have a decent amount of employees, but honestly, we have not, considering the fact that we got to a point to where we're having an account for over 50,000 books. We had over 3,000 or something total purchasers, but a lot of people purchased multiple products or had multiple orders placed. So considering all the stuff that we have to do that you don't see and you can't even understand if you haven't experienced it, things that you don't understand maybe come up, other things you have to deal with on the back end. And I'm really handling a lot of that with my team members. And there's a lot of people that are picking up duties that are just, we'll get to a point to where everybody's kind of more acclimated to the roles that they're in and what they should be doing, including me. For example, me packing orders every day, Monday to Saturday, Sundays on some days as well. And yeah, ideally that's not going to be the position that I'm in, but I wanted to certainly do it for this first campaign. But once I'm able to dedicate more creative space for the creative stuff, it's going to, man, we got so much in the works plans. But in between the campaigns, right, we'll have another campaign that'll launch soon enough. But after this, the main fulfillment's done with this. We're going to be working on our scale up, bringing more people on. I've said this many times before. When you are me, you don't really have that luxury of just hiring any Joe Blow off the street, because there's bad actors. There's people that wish to do you harm in your business. So you kind of got to vet. And it just didn't make a lot of sense to be doing all of that stuff right now. So let's get through this campaign. Everybody's picking up extra duty. Some people are coming out, helping with packing orders and all that. Our plan out there in Tennessee is rocking and rolling as well. And we'll get to a point to where I won't have to do any of this. But until we get there, this is just a reality. So I do these like one video a week really is the position that I'm in, because I have to be. So again, after this fulfillment process ends, let's say we fulfill, let's say the last 1,000 orders or something like that. Let's say that amount's left. We'll start with some other announcements. We'll do some more streams, and we'll start to slowly launch our other stuff. Warehouse 2.0, for example, the ball is rolling on that. We have a big meeting tomorrow. I do, at least, and looking at some of these spaces that we're going to be, not some of, a space really, and getting with our contractors and seeing what exactly that build out's going to look like. Very, very excited for that. Excited to announce the new books that we have coming out and all that other stuff as well. But that being said, there are some stories that happened this past week that I do want to make sure that I touch on. This was the obvious one that so many people asked me about and wanted me to comment about. And it's about She-Hulk. And I'll just read this really quick. Throughout She-Hulk, attorney at law, she repeatedly, of course, Jennifer Walters breaks the fourth wall. This comes from Variety, by the way. And in the season finale, pointedly titled, "Whose Show Is This?", Jennifer smashes out of the show entirely, jumping through the Disney Plus portal to confront the writers of the show about why the finale is so needlessly convoluted with extraneous, nonsensical plot lines, including the one about a cabal of toxic fanboys who troll Jennifer online about being a female superhero who doesn't have her powers. Eventually, Jennifer confronts the one in charge. No, not Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, but Kevin, a sentient robot armed with the most advanced entertainment algorithm in the world. Maslany creator and head writer Jessica Gao, I think we've talked about her before, explained to Variety that Feige was in on the gag from the start. He even helped create this little avatar that's basically acting as a stand-in for him. Yada, yada, yada. They also talk about the satisfaction. This is the part I want to speak on. They felt in seeing real-life online trolls use the exact same criticisms of She-Hulk. The show that the fictional online trolls on the show used against She-Hulk, the character, and Maslany addressed Jennifer's romance with blah, 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 blah. So let me there's some stuff that's coming from Tatiana in there. I think this is an interview. Jessica is the most genius, blah, 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 blah. This is what she said. This is the person that plays She-Hulk. She knows what that response is going to be. As a cast, it was delightful sending each other these troll responses like, oh my God, give them a week, and then they're going to literally see this pop up verbatim in the show and become the villains in the show. It was thrilling. So this is also where you expected to face the trolls when you signed up for the show. Reading the script, it was so true. There's so much resistance to a woman just existing in the space of superheroes. All right, so they make this stuff up in their head. There's always going to be that. I sort of anticipated it. It's why I also feel it's important. There's such an entitlement to space held by certain people to even exist as She-Hulk is like a FU, and I love that. So this is how they really feel about you guys, and I think this is going to a lot of the things we've talked about on this channel over the years, that this is a vehicle for a lot of how these writers and producers and Hollywood elite types and how they actually feel about some of their audience. And it's not their audience. It's usually an audience that's baked in from a property that they now are in control of, but they had nothing to do with its growth for the most part. So what they do is they take like the people that have been very critical of, let's say, the direction, not just with the MCU. This isn't anything exclusive to the MCU. This has been happening across really all entertainment platforms. So you see people doing all of this where they're using that show or whatever, that character, as more of a vehicle to take shots at the people that are generally customers that they feel are the worst of the worst. And so it's very spiteful, but I totally, that's to be anticipated. And if you don't anticipate that, I don't know what to tell you. I did see a message from somebody that said, look, man, She-Hulk was what did it for me. Look, I felt like it took me a while before I finally came to terms with, look, man, this is the material that's just not being made with me certainly in mind, and it's more so being made in spite of folks that are like myself. So there's no need to be hoping and wishing that this company changes. It doesn't matter if we're talking about the books. It doesn't matter if we're talking about the actual movies or shows. It doesn't matter. It's really made up of the same fabric of the type of people, and that is that they don't like you. They make that abundantly clear, and you just kind of have to expect that and certainly act accordingly. But because of these sort of actions, which continue to turn even some of their most prominent fans, I don't want to say prominent, that's not the right term, let's say enthusiastic fans and customers, WB, going on the other side, Warner Bros. TV layoffs, studio cuts 26% of the workforce. Looking at this, Warner Bros. Television is cutting more than a quarter. That's a lot of its workforce as part of its company's drive to cut costs. The studio is cutting 26% of personnel, a total of 125 positions, also scripted, unscripted, and animation. Deadline revealed that this is on Monday, that cuts would likely come today, and we revealed earlier that Warner Bros. TV was shutting down the digital production arm Stage 13 and its Warner Bros. Television Workshop, a key plank in finding and mentoring new and diverse talent. I did talk about that on this channel, about these diversity hires going ape here. So they're cutting down on costs. A lot of that has to do with, of course, the fact that, well, they haven't been making money maybe like they want. But also you had the merger and all that happened with WB and AT&T, more so selling off those assets, and the Warner Discovery and all that sort of stuff. And a lot of people have been cut off. But this is the reality of what you're dealing with in Hollywood. Seeing is that look, every business, no matter what the time, day, era, is going to go through is certainly ups and downs, and certain industries that exist are going to have its share of hardships. You see in entertainment production studios, actors, actresses, they come and go. And this is part of that, but I also think it speaks to maybe, WB wants to try to turn or change the tide. I think it's a little too late for that, but also that the whole, what they've really focused on the last, I would say, let's talk about maybe the last 7 years. Okay, let's say 5 to 7 years, where you saw that there started to be a big change in the type of material that they were putting out. Whereas there were certain, I don't want to say subjects that were taboo. It wasn't that they were taboo. It was that, well, it wasn't as on the nose as what it certainly is now, definitely with social political views and all of that. That's not to say they didn't have these views, but you felt some kind of way generally when your favorite actor or artist would talk about that sort of stuff. And now they wear it on their sleeve even more than what they ever did. And I kind of appreciate it because it lets you know kind of who and the type of person that you're throwing money at in some way. But it was not as lucrative as what they initially thought. And yeah, you'll get a success here and there, but really going all in on trying to appeal to this, I don't know if it was, some of it may be because of the new demographics, demographic changes. I mean, you look at some of these younger folk and what some of the stuff that, because they, you keep dropping your kids off with the enemy at these schools and what it is they're learning and where they're leaning. I think a lot of these folks in entertainment went and said, that's the audience that we want to capture. And they're on some really goofy stuff. But those aren't really the guys that have the capital. A lot of them aren't old enough to even get to the point to where they're sustainable, that they have sustainable enough that they have that capital anyway. But they went all in on trying to appeal to that, as well as the folks that indoctrinated them in the first place. And it's just, I think what you're seeing is that with internet, it has in the growth of it, more so social media, not just internet, it's warped a lot of people's views, and they don't really know what is actually supported. Like, what's actually what are people willing to reach into their pocket for and spend money on? That's where the disconnect is. And because social media, though, as much of a vehicle as it's been for a lot of us here, it can be very confusing if you don't know how to gauge the audiences, right? So I say this all the time as an example. You have people that think that, well, a retweet, a like, a share, a post, a cosign from, let's say, the people that they deem as the proper channels is the equivalent to financial success or success in general. And that couldn't be anything further from the truth. Look no further than what we're going to talk about here in a little bit, even more with the Rippaverse and other people that are doing their own independent thing. And yeah, they don't have the cosigns. In fact, a lot of, like we have in our own experience, the top comic book guys don't like us. They've made hit pieces about us. They've gone to take it to their own, like, social media to tell us how much they don't like us or how much they think we suck. And then it turns out that it doesn't matter because we make millions of dollars, right? So what the big studios have been getting, these, let's say, big entertainment sectors, the people that pump out this garbage for the most part, have been confused. Maybe it's internal. Maybe it's the guys that they hire with the purple hair that's coming right out of college that they're putting in these diversity kind of positions that, hey, this is where the market is, and they're making them lose money. That could be part of it. They could be in on the gag. They could be completely oblivious. Some people are going to blame ESG. I think that makes it way more complicated than what it actually is. I think at some point people got bad information, and what you're seeing is the economic consequences, and we haven't got. Trust me, you ain't seen nothing yet. If they keep going down this rabbit hole, definitely with this spitefulness like we read in the last She-Hulk stuff, and they're going to be using these properties as a vehicle to do that, oh man, they're going to continue to bleed money, and that's not a sustainable thing. And you're going to see layoffs. You're going to see people getting fired. You're going to see pivots because, well, that like and that retweet and that share does not equal a paying customer. So you got the most retweets, you got the most likes, and that doesn't mean that those people. It's funny watching these guys with comics, Right? Oh man, this weird thing happened in the comics. I love it so much. And these stan accounts, and you'll see the posts that they share because they get their marching orders. Even our stuff, you've seen people share like one page, and it's the same exact picture and they're sharing it around like, oh, this is the problem with this book or whatever it is, because they don't actually go out of their way to do anything. And I see this with the pirated site as well for the DC and the Marvel stuff, and even the major indie stuff, where the people that are so supportive of this stuff, sharing this stuff around, are folks that pirate their stuff. You ain't making money off of that, obviously, which is hilarious. But it's not a sustainable practice, and I think you haven't seen anything yet. With that being said, I do want to talk to you guys about something. I see that there's a lot that we've learned along the way with ISOM and Rippaverse. I'm really excited. I'm glad that, most people, 99% of the people enjoy it. They said they enjoy it. They're ready for more. A lot of people were with ISOM too. There's going to be those that don't like it, and I'm perfectly fine with that. You're free to do that. That is your business. That doesn't mean your criticism is right. I think a lot of people get that stuff twisted where they think, oh, well, just because I said I didn't like something or I said this was this, doesn't mean that, well, you need to understand that doesn't mean your criticism is legitimate. Criticism, there's valid and there's concern trolling, and then there's other stuff, people just talking crap just for the sake of talking crap. I kind of talked about this last week with the kind of understanding the difference between like useful information that you can use to better your product versus noise. And it's difficult to kind of swim through that, but you have to be able to do that, certainly as a business owner or a creative. But another thing of advice that I want to give you guys, kind of piggybacking on the conversation that we had yesterday, and it's something that I kind of picked up, and I've picked this up doing art before, but you really see it right here with the Rippaverse, and that is the day, because, all right, so with comics, I've learned, and I've known this for a little bit, but everybody's a writer, right? Everybody that is talking about this thinks that they know what writing per se is. Most don't. And if you are a person, doesn't matter what the genre is, doesn't matter if you're doing comics or not, and you're entering into a sphere where you want to make material for yourself, or rather for people that enjoy it, then do exactly that. I talked about writing for your peers and writing for versus writing for the audience, and this is kind of goes sort of into that. And a lot of people, a lot of y'all, and this is why a lot of y'all are failing in some of your aspects, is that you're writing for other writers. And I think that is a mistake that so many people do. I saw this with music so often, where people would, make music for the sake of impressing their peers and making music for the sake of getting a cosign. And you have to, last week we talked about that lens and how someone that is maybe your peer looks at it completely different. And let's kind of focus this in on comics for the sake of this video. And I know that people were going to look at my approach and say that it was unorthodox. And I'm fine with that. I mean, that again, that in itself doesn't matter to me at all. And we've proven that our actual customer base doesn't care about the stuff that they care about. So they may look at something that happens in our comic and say, okay, well, you did a 96-page stuff. Why didn't you talk about this, and this, and that? Because I didn't want to. It's really that simple, and it didn't make sense for us, considering that this right here was our first book. Didn't make sense, and so we did it in a way that made sense for us. And that was, of course, the concerned trollers and other folks who have their own projects, which they're not doing very well on those. And I think that's some of that spite and them being angry and being aggravated, because you're going to deal with this if you see success. There's a lot of folks that wish they were in your shoes. More importantly, there's going to be a lot of people that think that you are undeserving of the support it is that you have, because they think they're better than you. They think that and maybe sometimes it's political, sometimes it's not. They just feel like, well, they've done it this way and they haven't seen the success that maybe we have, and therefore they're going to do everything they can to tear down yourself if certainly you hop on the scene and you make a splash out. Diversity's dealing with that right now with his own stuff. This is what comes with the territory of you breaking through in the industry and saying, what's up, I'm here. And the audience responds to that, and you didn't get the approval of the elites or the people that think that they know what it is they're doing. And I mean this sincerely. This isn't a knock to anybody. you make material. Obviously, it should be fulfilling. I wouldn't advise anybody to participate if you're doing art for anything, like doing stuff for the sake of, I don't know, like you're miserable making it. Like it should at least, I'd imagine, be fulfilling. That's the best time that you have right there, is that you're doing something that you enjoy doing, you enjoy writing, and you make money off of it. That's the dream right there. That's what I love with what it is that we're doing, the Rippaverse. Yeah, I'm working every day, but this is my project, this is my baby, and this is something that I value. But what I'm not doing, and what I never was in the interest of doing, is seeing that there was this like fake way to do things that some people feel as if it's the legitimate form of coming out with a comic book. To be completely honest, I don't give a damn. Now, I have no monopoly on anything that happens artistically. Not autistically. Y'all got that out of control. Artistically. I don't have a monopoly on that. My success does not mean the failure of other people. The pie is not fixed. This is fundamental economics. In fact, considering where the mainstream is going, there's a lot of room in here for people to get in where they fit in. But I talked about so much on my channel over the years, and about comics and what it was that I loved about it, and what I got out of it, what I thought were the cool parts, what I thought were maybe the more negative parts. Right. And I sought, of course, to be a part of my other solution, because I do think there's still a market that exists and should be supported, and could be and can be supported by folks that got money to spend. OK, so I did that. I put the work out. The audience responded. Again, 99% for the most part. They like it. They love it. They want some more of it. Cool. And we're going to do that for you. But what my advice is for you guys is to keep your eye on that part of it, because what's going to happen is, definitely if you break in, you're going to have folks that immediately start nipping at your ankles. And there is no, and I think Razorfist talked about this as well, like about the standard that you're never going to be able to live up to for some of these people. And a lot of those people are folks that are deemed as your peers. Like there was a scene where in the book, and this isn't a spoiler at all, because you already know that, but there's a scene that has some important dialogue, and the audience picked that up really like immediately, the people that the book was for. But there are those that were isolating that context from that page, that were other writers, other people that hate me for various reasons. Again, pick and choose whatever that reason is. And they looked at to say, hey, this is not good, or this should not have been done this way. And it's not criticism by any means. It's more of, well, hey, this guy didn't do things like I would do it if I was in his position. And that's such a stupid thing to do. But what I could have done was listen to that crap, right? Though my audience has already said, look, this is what we want. We like this. We respect it. We want more of that. Or I could listen to the handful, and I mean handful, as in maybe 4 or 5 people who are like, well, you shouldn't have done it this way. At that point, you have to be able to separate that and block out that noise. And that's not an easy thing to do, because you're going to have people biting at your ankles if you're seeing success. This stuff is you don't worry about if you're not seeing, let's say, the level of success. Everybody's going to hit, if you do see success, you're going to hit a threshold, and you'll know it immediately, where out of nowhere and out of the woodwork, people are all of a sudden so worried about how you doing things and going to critique you, again, up top to bottom, and nitpick everything it is you do. We called this, I did videos, I said, look, man, when this book comes out, these folks that hate me, my hate watchers, my hate followers, they are going to nitpick every single thing it is that we do. Now, that's not to say that everything about ISOM or any book that we put out is going to be perfect. I don't even, matter of fact, screw the point that I was going to make, because I'm tired of feeling like we have to preface any conversation that we have about art like, well, not everybody's going to agree. No, who cares? That's a stupid point, because we're human beings, and that should be implied. But on a serious note, you got to do work. If you want to make money off of this, you want to live off of this, yes, make material for yourself. Yes, there are going to be peers that are also your customers, but your core customer base are not your peers. Not in any really industry that it is that you do. Your core customer base, if you are having to put out a product, right, that is art based, and this could bleed into other industries as well, but especially with art, your peers, the other people that are also making art, call themselves whatever, art based or whatever it is they're doing, the bulk of your customers are not going to be that. So you can try to sit up here and go out of your way to try to impress the people that know, that act like they know the most, but spend the least, or make material that is fulfilling for you more so, but also is loved by your audience, your core, the people that are reaching in your pocket. Hell, if anything, and you'll know this immediately as well, peers, these are the cats that are like, trying to get bum off free copies and stuff. They ain't even trying to spend money on the damn thing for the most part. Some of them do, and you know those. And again, that's some peers. Some of your peers can offer some of the most valuable, let's say, information that you could get and you can implement yourself. But that's not going to apply to all of them. That's not even going to apply to most of them. A lot of them, you'll learn quickly, are folks that do not like the fact that if you see more success than them, they prefer that you see a little less, something more comparable. And you got to be able to navigate through that. I'm going to get out of here, man. Thank you guys so much for the continued support. We got another long week ahead of us fulfilling orders, and I'm very, very excited. I promise you guys we're going to get back to streaming. We're going to get back to doing videos. We got to get these orders out. Peace out. Y'all be easy.